Together with Fatma, we'll have Brian Oskin, Chief Executive Officer of Gold and Minerals. Thank you for joining us. Same thing, we have Rowan Al-Sheri, which is a master's student at KAUST, King Abdullah University for Science and Technology.
Yes.
Give a unique perspective from a master's student. We also have Rana Abdullah Mohammed Zumai, Senior Director of Corporate Communication and Knowledge at the Saudi Geological Survey. And finally, we have Shukal Al-Mari, Senior Personnel Officers at Gold and Minerals Company. Thank you very much for joining us. And,
thank you for the introduction. So we have a beautiful variety here in this panel. We have the expertise, we have the newcomers, and we will be able to hear from each side what is missing in the industry and what can be more improved, I suppose. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Brian, since you're the only gentleman here with us on the panel.
But I'm not sure whether it's the thorn among the roses or the rose amongst the thorns.
However you want to see it. All right, so...
for me, this is one of the most important panels that there is. Mining is about accumulating resources. And always in this exercise, people forget about the human resources and the human capital. You can't build a mine, you can't operate a mine without the people that you have.
Correct.
Just to give you an example, and forgive me, we're about to start building a mine at the end of this year. That mine will employ around about 600 people. At the moment, there is nothing there. So we will, in the next year, Shuk's, one of her main jobs will be to help us with the recruitment of a huge workforce. A large proportion of those people will be Saudi nationals who have no experience and no skills, and we will have to make sure that they are ready to take their place in the workforce.
And that being said, Brian, are you having trouble recruiting people or getting people interested in the industry, so to speak?
I'll let Shuk answer that one, but from my perspective, I mean, I'd make the point quite importantly, is that one of the advantages that Saudi has is it's an amazingly well-educated workforce. And at the same time, we're just moving into a new area in Bisha. There is huge unemployment in there, and people are desperate for those opportunities for us to employ. So our problem is going to be one of selection and training rather than availability of skills.
Yeah, wonderful. Rana, let me speak to you since you're also an expert in this field. How do you see people or newcomers approaching this industry and being interested in it?
Actually, my opinion is, for our luck, that the new generation has different mentality, and they are looking to the challenges to start their new career. Maybe in the past, all the people looking to the secure job and not thinking about creativity or enjoyment. For my experience about the Saudi workforce in general, female and male, and now they are equal in all the rights. I think mining will be exciting more and more to be in this, but this is our role, maybe the people who work in communication in mining sector, to make this sector more attractive and to show the people what is behind the wall. You know, as a original mining companies or even government associations, you will find the mining sector is so tough and so straight. So nobody share what is the good culture inside or what is the benefit inside. Now, the media and new communication ways that Saudi adapted to do it since our vision started and launched, you can see all the young and youth in Saudi Arabia from both gender, they are looking for this, excited to start and to be uniqueness. For me, I select this sector to work with because I think no lady start communication in the high level to the mining to show the face of the mining with the lady. Because even if there is any issue with the male to be interested to join, I think the female will have more. But now I think we have the good chance to show the sector in the good way.
I agree, Rana, and maybe Rawan, you can tell us more. You are a master's student, and you are, a newcomer into this field. How attracted are you to it? Did you know anything about it before? Were you ever interested in it, or is it something new that you developed interest in this mining industry?
Well, my interest is I'm a chemistry major, and my interest is basically renewable energy. I was not necessarily interested in mining, but I think Saudi Arabia right now is focused on the vision of 2030, and they are trying to diversify their economy. And because of, let's say, the spotlight that the forum and minerals have had during the past few months or years, I became really interested in it. And coming here and learning more, I can apply the skills and the knowledge I have gained related to renewables in the mining industry. And I think it's a very important thing to think about, transferring the skills we know or the knowledge we have in regards to lowering the carbon footprint into mining. And since Saudi Arabia is focused on that in mining in one of its goals, we need to start thinking about starting mines from a sustainable point of view to create more impact on the society, but also educating the workforce and youth.
Educating the youth is a good point you brought up here, Rana, and that brings me to you, Shog.
Yeah.
When you first got into this industry, you were skeptical.
Yeah.
Now, I love a good story. Tell me yours.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me here in the big event and give me the chance to speak here. But my English is not that good. It's not
Don't
my
worry
first
about it.
language, so I will speak in Arabic.
Sure.
First of all, I came from a small city, Taif city. تخرجت من جامعة
I graduated
طائف.
from Taif
يعني كان في
University.
صعوبات
I
هناك
faced a lot of
لطيفة، يعني
difficulties
أبني عليها career.
to build my
ما في
career.
وظائف يعني بسيطة يعني فنادق
I have normal institution in hospitality, and after I reached the real opportunity in the gold and minerals,
I couldn't believe it.
and I couldn't believe it.
In that time it was
I
fake
thought
company. It's not
it's
real.
fake company. It's not real
Yeah,
company.
I said that to him.
And I said
You
that
are a
to
fake
him.
company. I couldn't believe it.
Because you didn't know what mining was.
Yeah. The industry, the company, because Taif City, it's small. There is no companies there, just small companies, it's local companies. But it's
What attracted you in the opportunity? Is it because it was a new, different opportunity coming to a small city?
Yeah, it comes to small city, and but I accept it anyway.
Okay.
And then after that, I was HR, still HR in the company.
Lovely.
But I think
And now you understand more about mining and the importance of mining industry, I suppose.
I have no idea about this industry before. It's not مش معروف بالنسبة لي يعني تعدين ومعادن أبدا ما عندي أي خلفية يعني.
And now you
Mining
have
and
enough
mineral.
experience to even recruit other people into the industry.
Yes. يعني نفس ما جتني هذه الفرصة أنا يعني آمنت.
I believe in all the opportunity that I have now as the university graduate from a small college or for small universities. They want to achieve more and more. As the same the opportunity for me, I wanted for the others. And the office for the company in that Taif, they are fresh graduate. The company believe in all the fresh graduate talents.
And experienced graduates, and you train them, educate them, and recruit them within the company. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But we do have here, maybe, Brian, an obstacle of attracting newcomers, perhaps especially females, into remote areas where you need the mines, where you need the labor. How do you overcome that obstacle?
Answer is you've got to take time and you've got to work at it. I'm a really great advocate of I suppose, let's not overemphasize the recruitment of women. I think that one of the things that I've been struck by in my exposure here in Saudi is the wealth of talent. And I think that Saudi is changing. And I think that there are many, many young men and women who are entering into the industry, and I think that they are the future. And I tell everybody, I'm the past, you're the future. You will make your own world. And in terms of the recruitment of women, while I advocate it, and while we have a preference, if there are two candidates and they're both equal, I will always plug for the woman candidate just because I believe that women are an important element of the workforce. But in many cases, it's very difficult for women to work in this because they have a traditional role in the society and when respected. So, we've got to play that over the long term. I believe that the society is changing. You can see it. In the 4 years I've been here, it's changed massively. So who knows what the future is going to hold, but I think it's very exciting.
All right, wonderful. Rana, from your experience, what do you think jobs at remote areas need in terms of skills?
You see my eyes, how it's feel when she was talking, because I had that experience to establish community projects in 4 villages around Saudi Arabia. And it was my vision in one day to convert our villages to productive village. And I did it in 4, then they promoted me.
Lovely.
However, from that experience, the big matter we have to look at it in the mining sector, from my perspective, is once we have to do any mining, and most of the mining work doing in the far area or away area from the main city. And all the people and families, traditional families in that area, they're starting hoping, getting more job for their family member. The struggle here, what they face, the companies come to Saudi, is the skills, as you mentioned, Fatma. And here, I think it's the private sector role, because each of the company, they have their system, they have their different way to do that work. I think not only the private sector, I think even the education institute in Saudi, like CAUS, they have good example here, to collaborate, to prepare the generation to accept all this project, because I believe mining will be all around the far area from the cities, and we have many people waiting for that job opportunity. But the things that is not make us is not trusted or well trusted that they will get benefit from this chance if they are not well prepared by their skills. And here we have to look at that as mining people.
And to you, Rawan, as a fresh graduate, a master's student, now I know you said you're in the renewable energy field, but what would be so attractive to you in a job such as mining, challenging such as mining, that possibly be in a remote area? What could possibly be more attractive to you that would make you want to go ahead and do that job?
That's a very good question. I think from my own perspective and my own interests alone, I would be focusing on the sustainable part of the process. So if a company is trying to become more sustainable and they need people to work on projects related to that, that would be very interesting to me. Now, I think that media is very, very important in terms of, let's say, glorifying mining, even in remote areas. I think we've seen, for example, Saudi Arabia right now with the vision, they've opened up, for example, tourism, and now and now they've also given opportunities for people to train in hospitality. And now we have a lot of Saudi youth who are going into that route because it has been glorified and it has been introduced through media, and it seems like an opportunity that people can't pass on. So I think we need to look at the process that they used in tourism and apply it in mining. And I think if we use that method, then more people would be willing to go into mining and more people would be willing to go to remote areas. But we also need, I think, in remote areas, we don't have, let's say, people would be concerned about, let's say, for example, hospitals, for example, the actual
Quality
living
of life,
situation and
yeah.
the quality of life. So we need to also consider that in place. So, for example, if I bring back KAUST is not necessarily in a very remote area, but they have all of the necessary facilities to give
correct.
a good quality of life. So we need to also think about that. But in terms of that, we would need finances, we would need funding, and we would need resources. to make-
Naturally, absolutely. Good points, Rawan. Shok, from your experience, now that you are trying, as Brian mentioned, to recruit some 100 employees, what are the most difficult obstacles you're facing when employing people? يعني إيش اللي أكثر شيء جالس يخوف الناس من هالوظيفة؟
يمكن أكثر شيء لما
Maybe we may face, for example, you can work from
being in remote
you will work from remote area, for example, from Taif or maybe Bisha. We have a project in Taif and Bisha. They didn't want to go to the Taif and Bisha. They want to go to the Riyadh
more on
or
those
maybe in
challenges
Jeddah.
that you might be facing
so-
when trying to recruit new labor.
I think there are two sources of labor. And I think when you look at a mine, if there are 500 people, 80% of those people are going to be low-skilled or semi-skilled people. And they will, by and large, come from the local community. And the pressure on us is huge. I mean, just to give you an example, we're busy just reactivating a project that we want to start building our mine on later in the year. And one of the communities was so upset that we were giving preference to another part of the community that they threatened to burn down our equipment if we didn't offer them jobs.
Oh.
So there's huge expectation, huge pressure on it. And they are going to be the bulk of our workforce. Then, of course, we have the 15 or 20% of the senior specialists, our HR people, our finance people, our engineers, our geologists. They will work, and they will work on very different conditions. So by and large, they've been educated, they want to work in the major cities, and they will work on fly-in and fly-out contracts. So they will work on site for 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'll go home for a rest period. And bear in mind that when you're mining, it's a 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days. It does not stop. It cannot stop. So you have to then work your work patterns, and your senior people, the people who are ultimately going to manage that operation, will be working on rotations. Whereas from the local community, there will be adequate supply. So, for example, if we want to drive one vehicle, we will have to recruit 4 drivers because we will have to work a shift pattern and make sure that people have the adequate rest and all of those things. Our problem is going to be training, and we will start a year before we start the mine. We will start training programs to develop and make sure people are there. So Shuk's job is to make sure that we get the best of the best because we have massive choice, and then make sure that they're trained.
Okay, I see you nodding, Rana, about everything he's saying, how important training, education. How about the role of universities and colleges and institutions to prepare, also educate newcomers into this field?
Agree. Actually, while I am a member in Women in Mining, and here I'm not talking only about women, the opportunity of education, specialized in mining, is not that much. Yes, we have that King Fahd Petroleum University, and now they starting accepting more lady there. But I'm talking about all the generation with the both gender. As I said in the beginning, the attracting opportunity to train and to engage and to make student after the secondary school make the mining, one of the mining specialized, they're one of the best selection, or they targeted to go. It's our mission to do that good image, to show the contribute of community from this sector, as she mentioned, and also for their sector, because they will be the leader of the sector. We have very limits talented in this sector, and the remaining that we have expertise, they are good, and I like to be diverse in this sector as the remaining sector. But universities has big role even the colleges. And I think if we bring to Saudi Arabia and the different Arabic area, the specialized mining universities, which all my colleagues at Saudi Geological Survey, they studied there, especially in Australia, South Africa, and UK. They came from there with all that expertise. And if you notice, one of them, he is a geology, and he is an educator, and he is a trainer to his employee. But it takes time and effort from him. Why I cannot give him ready people so he can bring the outcome to the association more fast? And this is what I think is the best to do.
Naturally, wonderful. Tayyib, Rawan, tell me from your perspective as a student, what's missing in the programs and colleges to have students graduate with enough skills to work in this industry?
I don't know if I can add much to that because my interests are a bit different. But
even in the renewable energy sector, it's a relatively new sector in universities, or not?
Yes, we need.
So what's missing in general in
We
renewable
need
energy?
qualified faculty, I think. We need the resources. We need the facilities. I think these are the three main key points. If we can attract, let's say, qualified, if we have collaborations with qualified faculty from abroad, that would be a good start. And then we would enable the Saudi youth and the Saudi citizens. And from that, we can start getting broader and increasing the number of people who specialize in that. But I think also in Saudi right now, there are a lot of scholarship programs. And one thing that we could look at is having a scholarship program to international universities related to specialization in mines. And this way we can also have like a fast way of qualifying youth while we are qualifying youth in Saudi as well. So it would be like two methods to reach the same goal.
Wonderful. Thank you for that contribution, Rawan. I think we're running out of time, so if you don't mind, Shog, I'll give my last question to Brian.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. All right, so I'll conclude with you, Brian. What is your take on that? What is missing in this community or in this region from your experience to have those skilled newcomers and make your job easier when recruiting people?
Difficult question to answer. Last week I engaged with the management and dean of Bisha University. Now, it was a surprise to me because Bisha's out of the way. They have a university with 20,000 students. They were shocked. They produce 5,000 graduates a year. They couldn't be more helpful than say, and their message to me was, tell us what you want and we will structure our programs around that. So I think that that's an important first. I think there's the other thing is that we, from the industry side of view, have to become more aggressive in approaching the institutions and putting programs in place, offering internships, sponsoring students to do postgraduate work on theory and there's final year theses. Those things will take benefit, but like everything, it takes time. So I think that it's not, I never always ask about what you're going to do for me. It's how we're going to develop partnerships. And those are the things that are important to me. We want long-term partnerships. We have a long-term partnership with King Abdullah Aziz University. We've taken 8 graduates over the last 4 years, 2 every year. They are the stars of our business at the moment. They will be the managers of the future. The only problem that I have is if people are going to steal them from me, and then I'll be really cross.
After that effort you put. Wonderful. Thank you for being here, everybody. Brian, Rawan, Rana, and Shog, thank you so much for joining us for this panel. And I hope our dear audience enjoyed your time and you learned something here on what's missing and what the industry needs from newcomers. Yes, I believe we have a question. Are we taking questions? Can we do that? No, I'm sorry, we don't have time. But when my panelists walk off, you can talk to them and ask them whatever you want. Thank you again. Please, a round of applause for the panelists. Thank you. Thank you very
Fatma,
much.
for this
Thank you.
wonderful panel. Same thing for the question. Don't hesitate to approach the different panelists and be able to talk with them